Hi, I'm Tasha. Welcome to another experiment in the kitchen. Today's experiment I'm very excited about, but I also have no idea how it's going to turn out. So it really is experiment. But it's going to be hash browns and scrambled eggs, raw vegan style. So I watched a lot of videos on, well, this is jicama. This is what our hash browns are going to be made of. And jicama is a root vegetable, so it's kind of similar to potatoes. And when people make raw vegan recipes that use, that resemble potatoes, like mashed potatoes, or sometimes people will use jicama as a pizza crust or as a chip, and as fries. So there's various uses for jicama that resemble potatoes, and it tastes good raw. It's kind of sweet. Sometimes it's a little too sweet for my recipes, but I did a lot of experimenting with jicama the last week because I got a lot of it. So I'm going to try this one today. Our jicama, this is what I'm going to be using for the hash brown. So this is just cut up jicama. I peeled off the outside of it. And then for the eggs, I'll show you the ingredients. I watched a video by Dan the Man McDonald on raw vegan scrambled eggs, and he gave a lot of ideas. He used a lot of fats, so I'm going to try a lower fat version. I don't know how it'll come out, but our base is going to be zucchini. This is peeled and cut up zucchini. And then he used a lot of nuts. So like pecans, cashews, and he used a hemp seed oil. So I'm gonna try and use as few fats as possible and concentrate on the hemp if I do, because hemp has a better omega-3/6 ratio. And I also got some sweet corn. This is organic. And if I need to get more bulk and creaminess without the fat, I'm going to see if maybe the corn will work for that. And then for the coloring of the eggs and the flavor, I have dill and chives, and then Dan used a salt. I have this celery powder, which is dehydrated celery, and it's kind of, works as a salt. So I'm going to try that. And then cumin and turmeric for, I guess, coloring and flavor he also used, so I'm going to try those. And I also got out curry and mustard, which I might try. I'm not sure. These ones I put over here because they're things I try to avoid as much as possible, but sometimes for recipes I like the flavor, and I think that other people like the flavor too. So garlic, nutritional yeast, and Bragg's. So Dan used all three of these in his, and so I'll try and go easy on those, but as I said, it's all an experiment. And then in the dehydrator, I have chopped up mushrooms. Actually, let's go back over here. This was the egg part. These are the toppings. So once the egg is made, then it would, like when you go to restaurants, they put in other things like tomatoes and stuff. So these are my toppings. This is all of these I just threw in the food processor and chopped them up. And so this is a container of, it's called like power greens or super greens, and so it's got Swiss chard, like baby Swiss chard, and arugula, and some other things, tatsoi, or I don't know the names of them. So just kind of for flavoring and greens. And these are some yellow grape tomatoes. And this is a fresh guacamole, and so I don't normally use a lot of fats. Again, this has flavoring already added to it. It's a fresh guac that I've purchased from the store before, and so I might add a little bit of that in. Those are toppings. And then also in here, as I mentioned, I have the chopped mushrooms, and they're just white mushrooms, and I poured a little bit of Bragg's liquid aminos on them for the saltiness, and then I'm dehydrating them because mushrooms seem to be better when they're like soft and cooked a little bit, so I'm trying to cook them, make them a little softer. So they look kind of nasty at the moment. Pretty black. So that will be a potential topping as well. I know my husband will not want that. So back over here with the hash browns. I've just been feeding them in. This is the grater thing for the food processor. Just been feeding them in the top. And so I'll show you a little bit and put them on the dehydrator. And then I have 3 more jicamas over there, which I'm going to use after this video is over and cut some up as fries and see how those work in the dehydrator as well. So what we have are these nice strands that look like hash browns. I'm going to put those on the dehydrator. And this dehydrator is not one of those, you know, the best ones are those big rectangle ones that you can just put on put a big sheet of stuff in there. This one needs the cheaper version, and sometimes the circulation is not that great, so I have to make sure stuff is flat and has room to circulate. So I'll start this dehydrator after the recipe video is over because it's rather loud. And for the hash browns, I also plan to, we have some red bell peppers, so I'll probably chop those up, put a little bit of red bell pepper in my hash browns and maybe some seasoning. If I eat it with the scrambled eggs, then maybe I won't have to put in seasoning. Okay, so now I'm going to switch blades for the eggs over to the S blade. Let's start with the experiment. This is 3 zucchinis. As I've mentioned before, I like to make a lot because I don't want to have to repeat myself. So sometimes if it's bad, well, you just have a lot of vegetables to eat. So I'll probably stop there. That's about 2 zucchinis, maybe 2.5. And I peeled them because I didn't want it to turn green. And actually, because I want this to be chunky, I think I will not food process it until everything's in there. I'll try a little bit of corn. And I'll go ahead and add the hemp, because this is what I use from my supplements every day anyway. And so I use 1 tablespoon of this and 1 of chia. So I'm just going to do 2 tablespoons of this, approximately. dill, chives, some garlic, celery salt. I'm going to put a ton of this on. Some cumin. And turmeric. That's pretty. I don't think I've used that before. A little bit of nutritional yeast. And I think I'll skip the Bragg's aminos for now. I'm going to throw a handful of the nuts in. It's about 5 cashews. They say raw, but you know, we know that raw cashews aren't really raw. And then about 5 pecans. All right. It might even be too light. I might have to add in some more of the coloring stuff. I think I'm going to put some mustard in because some people like mustard on their eggs. I'm going to put in a little bit more of the turmeric for color. I don't know how it tastes at all. Smells like something. I have some big pieces that I maybe should have chopped smaller. Well, it tastes really good, but it does not taste like scrambled eggs. Alright, I think I'm going to continue to play around with this a little bit more and see if I can make it taste a little bit more like scrambled eggs, and I will post an annotation of what I actually ended up using. But another thing that I might end up doing is straining it a little bit to make it more thick and less juicy. So, thank you for watching and joining me in this experiment. I'll let you know how it goes. If you like this video, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!